I'm a great fuck, but a better lover. Open carry, pussy lethal like I'm Danny Glover. I might steal a bike, drive it through the suburbs. Got your daddy cuffed up like he undercover. Crop top, little waist, tiny titties in your face. Drop top, big subs, I'm like Nicki Super Bass. Got your windows fogged up, cause I'm hot like Nelly. I know what you want, so get in my... Get like me, nah you wish. You could never ever ever be that bitch. Get like me, nah you wish.
Welcome back to another motherfucking episode of the Black Girl Overthinking podcast. It's your girl Areiyami, and I'm so excited to have you here for another episode. Step into our little safe corner of the world. You know the vibes. This is our sacred Homegirls space where I overthink, you overthink, we overthink together, and we just try to figure this shit out. Do a vibe check with me, okay? On 3. We're gonna do inhale, exhale. 1, 2, 3. Inhale, exhale. Now, me personally, I'm feeling blessed and very hydrated. I got my Stanley cup over here with my water in it, and I'm metaphorically burning my sage to keep the evil energy off of me. And I'm feeling a little spicy, you know? I'm just ready to dive into everything that's been on my mind. So, anywho, today's episode is a special one. We're talking about growth. Yes, ma'am. Glorious, hard, won, personal growth. And you already know I have stories for days, but first we're gonna catch up and get on what's happening out there in the world. So let's get into these real topics, child. It's always some shit going on, and we're gonna get to the nitty gritty of it. So the first thing that I want to talk about, which something is I'm very excited about, because y'all know I am a die-hard lover girl. No matter how I try to flip it, switch it, turn it, whatever, I'm a lover girl. So one thing I want to talk about is Mariah the Scientist's Burning Blue in the Summer Walker interview that she did. Sis has had me in my feelings this week with her new song Burning Blue. Have y'all heard it yet? If not, go ahead and pause this and go stream it right now. Well, actually, wait, before you do that, let's just finish the podcast first and then you can go stream it. But seriously though, Mariah came through with this beautiful track, and it's like really sultry R&B, like a slow burner kind of vibe that's perfect for them late night overthinking sessions, you know, something that I tend to do very often. She's basically like painting with her feelings. It's something that she does very naturally. She sings about being cold as ice emotionally and just real guarded and distant until the right person comes along and thaws her out. And she even calls that like the lover that she's talking about, a fire-breathing creature. That's what she references him as. Like, he's bringing all this heat to her life, like that fire and ice imagery for love. And it's just so beautiful. It's like a deep love and emotional vulnerability. It's all over the song, and you can hear it in how her voice just floats on the track with this haunting softness. Like she's trying to play it cool, but can't help melting a little bit because sis is being vulnerable. So I felt that because I've done that multiple times, and y'all know that just from plenty of other episodes. But just picture this: you're this independent, I don't catch feelings type, but then that one person comes along to melt you like butter, like on a hot biscuit. That's Mariah in the song. It is very relatable. It's a push and pull between I want to protect my heart and damn, you got me catching feelings. Like, she's basically saying love can be dangerous but irresistible. A combustion of opposites where cold meets hot. And as an overthinker, I feel like I love a good conflicting emotional scenario because I'm in that zone 9 times out of 10, like a lot. She didn't just stop there. I actually watched the interview that she did with Summer Walker, and she gets into the concept of the album, which was very fucking cool. First of all, by the way, can we talk about how much we love Summer Walker playing interviewer? Yes, I'm definitely here for that. She interviews a whole lot of people, but the two of them, they have a key, and Mariah dropped some insights about the concept behind her album, and she just said basically the whole thing is built around this image of a little green toy soldier. And at first I was like, a toy soldier, but then she explained it and my mind was blown because it got very deep. She described that little green toy soldier as like symbolizing this fierce devotion and vulnerability at the same time. Like, think about a toy soldier, how they're tiny and how they're often overlooked, but it represents someone who's ready to fight and even die for how she loves, all in, 10 toes down, ride or die, but often feeling small or underestimated in the process. And that's the metaphor for deep love if I ever heard one, because women, especially Black women, can be so loyal and ride or die in love that we'll go to war for our people, yet folks will still play us like we're something small. And so that duality of being both strong and overlooked. I feel like Mariah captured that perfectly. And can we talk about the green soldier metaphor a little bit more, because it really made me just start to analyze my own love life, that image of being and willing to fight and die for love, but feeling like your efforts are toy sized. And that just hit me so hard, because it's like you pour all of your energy into someone. You cook, you clean, you care, you show up. Basically, you marching for them, but then they still treat you like you plastic. And she said that best, like it's personal, but it's universal. Being vulnerable can feel scary like fire, but it can also be the only thing warm enough to melt our defenses. That's a grown woman R&B queen right there. Now, the next thing that I want to get into that's been on my mind heavily ever since I've seen it is Sinners. I know there have been a lot of opinions on it. The film is set post World War I in the Jim Crow era, Mississippi Delta. It follows two brothers, both played by Michael B. Jordan, double the finest, thank you Ryan for that, who came back home to open a juke joint. We're vibing with the blues, black folks finding joy in hard times, all that. Then, plot twist, a gang of white vampires roll up like uninvited colonizers, which it ain't nothing new for the white people. They tried to literally and figuratively suck the life out of the black community. And when I say symbolism was jumping out, y'all, it was jumping out. Like, let's break down the layers, because I was overthinking and I was taking notes. First of all, the vampires in this movie aren't just bloodsuckers for the spooks. Like they stand for something bigger. They represent racists and colonizers, plain and simple. These pale undeads show up drawn by the magic of black music, which of course, does it sound familiar? Oh, okay, yeah, what's the rhythm? Let's go steal it. The white vamps, they're a literal version of cultural vultures. Like, they're attracted to black art, the blues, our music. They are so eager to consume it and profit from it and drain the creators. Does that sound familiar now? It's basically like a horror take on cultural appropriation and exploitation. Coogler was in his bag with this, just like his other movie. Y'all seen Wakanda, come on now. There's also this scene where the vampires appear outside the juke joint and politely ask to be let in, because vampires can't be let in without being invited. Come on now. The black folks are like, nah, we good, stay outside. But then one of the vampires is a mixed race woman from the community, and when she reaches out to them trying to keep the peace, guess what? They turn her ass into a vampire as well. And it gets real nasty. They literally preyed on someone from inside the community who was trying to accommodate them. And that felt like a warning about how racism can corrupt even those close to us if we're not careful. One of those vampires get in and all hell breaks loose. The fangs is out. People turning left and right. But then there's the kicker. These vamps could have been like the KKK. In the story, it wouldn't have changed much. In fact, I saw somebody say, like on a review, if you remove the vampires, nothing changes. And that's the facts, because the real monster here is the racism. And America's history in general, the vampires attack at night, just like the Klan did, except without the hoods. And they preach about a so-called united society if everyone becomes a vampire, which is basically what assimilation and white supremacy promises. We're all equal if you just become one of us and let us control you. Even without the supernatural element, black folks in that time, and arguably now, were dealing with horrors that might as well be monsters. And the quote, if you remove the vampires, nothing changes, it hit me hard, because it's like, that's the real reality that we live in. It's a real life horror story. Like, if you take away the fangs and the story and still speak on the lynching mobs, the racism, and the cultural theft, that's the real scary part. I feel like a huge part of Sinners is also about the spirituality and the root work. I know, as a Southern woman myself who is very in tune with her spirituality, I feel like we get a lot of good hoodoo in there. And I have to give Coogler his flowers, because he treated African American spirituality with so much respect. He even had a hoodoo consultant on the set. I think her name is Dr. Yvonne Chiru. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I know it's Dr. Yvonne something. But to make sure that they portrayed everything right, and it shows. The film doesn't do that Hollywood thing of demonizing our ancestral practices. Instead, he uplifts it and he links the power of the blues music to the power of hoodoo, showing that there are two sides of the same coin, and they're both rooted in black pain, resilience, and faith. Blues is the music of hoodoo, meaning our music has always been spiritual, a form of magic and healing. And I feel like Coogler depicts the juke joint performance is almost like church. One of the characters, which is my favorite character, is Annie, who's played by Wunmi. I can't really pronounce her last name, but she's a hoodoo priestess, and she's not out here for the colonizer bullshit. She uses her root work, her herbs, prayers, the whole toolkit to protect her people. And seeing a Black woman's ancestral knowledge save the day on a screen in real time, that gave me the chills and a lot of pride. And I feel like Coogler really said our magic is valid and is powerful. There's a scene where the head vampire mimic, he has like this Irish accent, and he's a freaking super bloodsucker, but he starts doing an Irish step dance in the middle of the vampire hold down. I was like, not y'all giving us Stomp the Yard, Transylvania edition. The movie is unafraid to look like silly. Like everything wasn't super serious, which I love how he blended that intense gut-wrenching moments with these did they really just do that kind of bits of humor in camp. It all flowed beautifully, because like one moment you're seeing an epic spiritual blues performance that literally summons the ancestral spirits, and that scene alone deserves an Oscar, by the way. But the next minute you got vampires outside the club singing Irish folk songs and jigging. Black life, even under oppression, isn't 100% doom and gloom. We find laughter in the dark, and Coogler did like a really great job of depicting that. He mixed the genres of crime drama, horror, musical comedy, just everything. And I said all that to say, definitely check out Sinners if you haven't. Just be ready. It's got teeth in more ways than one. Let's shift the energy back up a bit and pivot to our main topic of the day. And it's a good one. I've been itching to get this out, okay? Today's episode topic is about the real measure of growth. So often we think that growth is measured in years and in accomplishments and how zen we appear, or on a good day. But baby, I've learned that the truest measure of how much you've grown is what you do when you get triggered. Yes, those moments when somebody or something presses your buttons, that's when your evolution or lack thereof really shows up. It's easy to be healed and at peace when life is smooth and you're getting everything you want and then some. You're doing your yoga, you're saying your affirmations, you're lighting your candles, you feel like you're God's favorite child. Yeah, that's me on a Sunday morning, okay? I'll be up in there like I'm unbothered, I'm aligned, namaste. But catch me on a Monday at 9 a.m. when somebody cuts me the fuck off in traffic, and when I open an email full of bullshit, then suddenly that whole Buddha mindset and that woosai, that gets tested real quick. The difference between old me and evolved me is how I react in that split second. Because growth isn't how many crystals you own or how many self-help books you read. Growth is when that one person who always used to get you acting crazy and on some bullshit and tries you, and you respond in a new way. Yes, I had a temper. I am sweet, but if you push the right or wrong buttons, then I can slice you up real good with my words. I am the queen of clapbacks, okay? My mouth is reckless, and low key, that's something that I am proud of. I'm not one of those who turns the other cheek. Well, I wasn't one of those who turns the other cheek so easily. It was more like you want to fuck around? Okay, you gonna find out. Because I didn't know that much about growth. So anyway, fast forward to recently, I've been working on myself. I've been doing the healing. I'm trying to respond, not react. All that good stuff. So I thought I had grown. I swore I was a changed woman out here giving out Zen vibes. Well, life decided to test that theory. And a couple weeks ago, I'm at this networking event, which I hate networking events. I was trying to be grown and do a grown woman business thing. It never works out. Everything's cool until this one girl I barely know. We're gonna call her fucking Tasha. She starts talking slick in front of a group out of nowhere and makes a little snide remark about a project that I did, basically trying to downplay my success loud enough for people to hear. And it was one of those backhanded compliments that had like microaggressions written all over it. Like, you know, the type that smile in your face, but the words are cutting. Okay. So I felt my old self start to ignite inside me. Like, okay, bitch, you feeling froggy. Okay, you know, my heart started pounding. That heat's rising in my chest. My palms get to itching, and not like I got no money coming. No. The old me was like, tag me in. I'm on that bitch. Like, is we dragging her or not? I had like a one linear, like, ready to launch what would have read that motherfucker to filth. I'm talking scorch the earth, leave no wig unshifted type of breed. the gag is, she probably wanted that reaction and was hoping for that to make me look angry in front of these people that we didn't know. And I realized that would have been a setup. So the new me had to wrestle the old me in that split second. So I looked at her, I took a breath, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna let you make it. Because everyone in here, they don't know me. And I don't want that to be the impression that they take away from me, like from this event. So I'm gonna let you make it, because if I say what I wanna say, then that's gonna trigger you to leap because you're feeling froggy. Okay? And you know you feeling froggy, I'm gonna have to slam your ass down. So yes, girl, I really said that out loud. And the way that her eyes popped wide and not to fucking stop it. A couple of people choked on their little drinks or their cocktails, whatever they had. When I tell you, I gave her nothing to grab onto except her attitude. Yeah, she was stunned. And she mumbled something under her breath, like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. You know how motherfuckers be trying to play like they're innocent or play victim when you call out their bullshit. Yeah. But anyway, old me would have either A, gone full Tasmanian devil and cursed her the fuck out and then maybe talked about her bad weave in the process, or B, gotten so upset that I leave in tears because I really wanted to fight and I know that I couldn't, and I just had to swallow it and let it fester and vent about it later. But what did I do? I did what the evolved me would do, the new me, the current me. And I said, I could cut back, but I see what you're doing and you're not worth the energy, boo. I kept it cute, but put her on notice that I did peep the shade, and I'm gonna let you make it. I'm gonna let you make it. I'm giving you that courtesy. I'm gonna spare you today. The old me had to say something. I had to let it be known that, like, you tried me, but I'm gonna let you make it. But I can get very nasty with it. And the crazy thing is that was grown. It might not have been saint-like silence, but it was progress. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't insult her directly. I guess, subtle shade doesn't count, but I did set a boundary right then and there. You will not play with me, especially in public. And I did it without going off or letting my emotions take over, which is something I'm very proud of. That's growth. And the measure of it was the 30-second encounter where my past self and present self had a showdown, and my present self won. And that's when I knew that the work that I've been doing is actually kicking. It's kicking ass, and it's actually working. Growth often shows up in the uncomfortable moments. It's like a tea bag. You don't know how strong it is until it's in hot water. And we don't see our own evolution when everything's easy and lovely. We only see it when we're being tested, and when someone comes at us sideways, or when a situation doesn't go the way that we pictured it going, or when life hits that nerve that used to send you into a fucking crazy spiral. Those triggers are mirrors. They reflect back to you exactly how far you've come or how far you still have to go. Growth doesn't mean you became a doormat or a mute. A lot of people think evolving means you never respond or you're just namaste 24/7, but nah. Sometimes growth is deciding not to give somebody the worst version of you, even when they deserve it. And that's power. It's picking your battles wisely. And I know that's cliche, but there's so much power in that. And it's having the power to clap back and choosing not to use it every time in that moment. And with that girl, I feel like I exercised a restraint and I maintained my self-respect, because the old me thought speaking my mind no matter what was self-respect. But the new me learned that self-respect can also look like walking away when my peace is being attacked. And every action doesn't need a reaction, especially if the reaction costs your peace or your reputation. And I know that now, growing, I have much more to lose. So yeah, I'm proud of me for that. But let's not get it twisted. I'm not out here being perfect. There are still days when Miss Patty LaBelle in me makes an appearance when she needs to. Growth isn't linear. Sometimes it's a squiggly line upward. Sometimes, you gotta do what you gotta do. But afterwards, I was shook in the car like, damn, that was very calm of me to do that. I am so proud of myself. And I had to call my friend and tell her, and she was like, yeah, you really did your big one, because I know the old you would have stomped the bitch out real fast and real quick. But you're a growing, changing woman, and I'm proud of you. I want y'all to think about your own growth moments. Think of like a scenario that probably used to absolutely set you the fuck off, maybe. Or maybe an ex who could trigger you into a crying mess, or a family member who knew exactly how to push your buttons. We all got them. Or if you had like a recent moment with them or someone similar where you responded differently. Did you catch yourself reacting in a healthy way? That right there is going to tell you how much progress you're making as a person with your growth, honestly. And it's easy to miss it because it's not like we get a diploma each time we level up emotionally. Nobody hands you a certificate or congratulations, you didn't text your toxic ex back, or congratulations, you didn't beat that bitch ass. But those moments are proof. I'll drop a little metaphor that I've been chewing on. Growth is like a tree. You don't notice it getting taller or stronger day to day, but let a storm roll through and that tree that would have been uprooted a year ago now stays standing. In the storm, which is the trigger, the test, the things that revealed the growth that was happening quietly all along, we are the same way. And we do our journaling and our praying and our therapy and our wondering and like, is this even working? Then something happens that would have made you act a fool, like a complete ass, and then you see that you handle it with grace, or at least with less foolishness. That's when you know the roots are deeper, baby, and you're not the same. Another example, I had somebody who I deeply care about try to pick a fight with me over something trivial not too long ago. And in the past, I'd engage and I might, get defensive and make it a whole drama. But this time, I just calmly said, I love you too much to argue about this. We can revisit this when we're both calmer. And I hung up politely. I did shock myself because I was like, who even am I? That is growth. And I feel like I'm protecting the relationship and the sanity. The old me would have scorched the earth and then felt guilty later. Probably would have said some shit that I didn't mean and, had to apologize for it. But growth also means you might still feel that initial flash of anger or hurt. I definitely felt it with that girl trying me at that networking event, but you don't let it drop the car. It's like feeling the hot tea kettle whistle, but you take it off the burner instead of letting it boil over. It's not that I don't get mad or offended now. It's just that I've learned mostly how to channel it constructively or let it pass. And that's emotional maturity. Not the absence of emotion, but the management of it. And sometimes growth means saying absolutely nothing in the moment and screaming in your room or in your car later. And that's okay too. If that's what keeps you from escalating the situation, then do what you gotta do. There's power in that pause. Every time you pause instead of popping off, you're reframing yourself, and you're proving that you're proving that you run the situation, not that the situation runs you. And I'm proud of us, y'all. I know each of you listening has overcame something or reacted better to something than you would have in the past, even if it was as small as not honking or cussing at the slow driver in front of you while you was out. A win is a win. So celebrate that. That's the real measure of growth. That those little big moments where your higher self shows up and shows out. Yeah, like that's a big thing. So treat it as such. And for me, that line I delivered, I'm not going to let you make it, because if I say what I want to say, then that's going to trigger you to leap since you're feeling froggy right now. That was equal parts restraint and seasoning. It was my signature blend of zen and zine. And it encapsulated exactly how I felt about my progress, because I can still be me, witty, and a little bitchy without blowing up or being cruel. And I can defend myself without destroying someone else. That realization, that is what felt good to me. Because it's like, I don't have to choose between being a pushover or being a fire-breathing bitch. Dragon. There's an in-between where I stand in my dignity and still remain kind, or at least civil. The fuck? So, also, the aftermath of these moments of growth is very telling. I used to have an argument or an altercation and be upset for hours because I'm very stubborn, or even days. And recently, just after handling things with more grace, I find I recover emotionally so much more faster. Like my peace bounces back quick because I didn't pour gasoline on fire when I could have, and I had the power to. But that's another measure. How long do you stay disturbed after a trigger now versus before? And if you bounce back sooner, that's growth and resilience. If you don't always respond how you'd like to, or if you fail a growth test and go off on somebody or break down or whatever because you're human, don't beat yourself up. because part of that growth is also how you repair and reflect after those moments. And maybe you lost your temper last week. Okay. But did you apologize after? Did you identify what set you off, and did you learn from it? Because that's growth too. And we're human. You're going to slip up. So give yourself grace. The goal is fewer slips and better recovery. Okay. I feel like I just preached a mini sermon to myself there. This topic gets me hyped because I feel it so deeply right now. I just think I'm in a season where life is presenting me with all these little pop quizzes, and I'm seeing my own evolution in real time, and like in equal parts surreal and gratifying. And I want that for all of us, to notice and appreciate how far we've come. Because you're not always going to have somebody in your corner telling you, good job, you did this, or good job, you didn't do this. So before we wrap up the main topic, let me leave you with this thought. Your growth is your glory. And it's quiet sometimes, but it shines in those big moments. So wear your growth proudly. The next time someone comes at you crazy and you handle it with poise, give yourself a mental pat on the back or a high five, or a real one. I don't care if people stare. High five the air, boo. The fuck do you do what make you feel good? And the next time you choose peace over chaos, acknowledge that. That's your higher self in action, and it's a beautiful thing. Wait, this is actually perfect because now I'm going to give you guys the challenge of the week. Because it's cute to talk about growth, but let's be about it, okay? We're not just going to be all talks and nothing to back it up. All bark, no bite. I got a lot of bite for y'all. So this week's challenge that I want you guys to do, I want you to pay attention to your triggers. Like pay very close attention, or pay attention to your next trigger. Over the next week, I want you to notice when something or someone triggers you, whether that be big or small. And it could be that coworker that's sending an annoying ass email. It could be your child throwing a tantrum, or a kid. It don't even have to be your kid, because I know I got a diverse audience here. It could be your partner saying something slick, or even a stranger just being rude to you. In that moment, I want you to pause and observe yourself. Before you react, take one deep breath. I don't care if it's awkward. Sip some water or pretend you're thinking real hard. Just by yourself a couple of seconds. In that breath, ask yourself, how would the old me handle this? And how can the new me handle it better? Even if you still feel mad or upset, just that thought will engage the growth mindful part of your brain. Choose the response you won't regret, the better option. Not the option of beating their ass or cursing them out, or just anything that does not align with where you want to be as a person. Maybe that means responding calmly, or maybe it means not responding at all, and that's okay. Your challenge is to do something a little better than the old you would have. If old you would yell, maybe new you talks firmly, but doesn't yell. If old you would shut down completely, then maybe the new you speaks up just a little. Push yourself one step past your old pattern, and then afterwards, reflect. Literally, just give yourself some credit. Write it down in your notes app or your journal. Today I grew by XYZ when I was triggered happen. How did it feel? What did you learn? If you slipped and you reacted poorly, that's okay too. Reflect on that as well, without self-shaming. Do you hear me? Without self-shaming. Like, okay, I went the fuck off on my driver, but the next time I'm gonna try breathing first. I'm gonna count to 10. It's all data for your growth journey, and you're gonna feel good about reflecting on it, so that when you permanently do get to where, I can't even say permanently, because we're always in a state of healing and growing. You're never just, permanently set somewhere. But the idea is to building on that. The more you practice this and your everyday small triggers, then the more naturally you'll handle the big ones with grace. And I want to hear about it. If you feel like sharing, then send me a DM. I read all of y'all's DMs. Or comment on an Instagram post about your experience with this challenge. And I'm going to be doing it too, not just y'all. So trust, I'm sure the universe will give me at least one chance this week to practice what I preach. But good luck. And remember to be kind to yourself in the process. But anywho, we're going to get into my current life events in tea to spill. Where I spill a bit on myself and what's been going on in my own life and how it ties into today's theme, if it does. I try not to, well, as of late, I've just been trying to stay more grounded and just focusing on the things that make me happy and to grow as a person. I've been reconnecting with a family member that I had a rocky relationship with. Without getting too deep into the backstory, this person and I had a big falling out a few years back, and we went a really long time without speaking because of some of the hurtful things that went down. It's one of those complicated dynamics where there was love, but also a lot of pain and disappointment. I'm not talking to this person directly, but I'm just, I'm healing from the situation. I'm not running from the situation anymore. It was something that really hurt me. And I'm looking at it through a new lens now. And when I tell you that the growth has been called to the forefront daily, the old me harbored a lot of resentment. I had a whole script in my head of everything that this person did wrong and how they hurt me. And I was low-key waiting for an apology that never really came in the way that I imagined. But here we are, making an effort. Small steps like texting me motivational quotes in the morning, so random, but I see you trying, asking to have lunch, shit like that. First time we met up in person after our estrangement, I was nervous, y'all. Trigger on standby. I was worried he'd say something that would set me off, like diminish what happened or not acknowledge my feelings. And in the past, that's exactly what would have happened. And I'd leave our conversation angry or in tears. But I went with the mindset of how I react is my choice, and that was new for me, applying these things to my real life. So we sat down. Sure enough, early in the convo, he made a comment that rubbed me the wrong way, something like, you know, you've always been sensitive. And inside I was just like, here we go, here we fucking go. My chest did get tight. And in the past, I would have definitely snapped. And this was the part where I would have been like, oh, and you also, you know, my little whatever I had to say. But I heard a little voice, probably my therapist's voice, in my head say, breathe, just breathe, just breathe. Choose your response. And I took a sip of my drink, having literal tea during my metaphorical tea, and I calmly said, I am sensitive, and that's not a bad thing. It means I feel things deeply. And then I gently but directly added, I'd like us to talk about why I felt hurt, if you're ready for that conversation. I didn't say it like that, but we talked, y'all, and he actually listened. Because I didn't lash out and he didn't get defensive. It was like magic. I spoke from the heart, not from a place of accusation, but just explaining my feelings. And I said my piece without yelling or blaming, just truthfully. It hurt me when you did this, or when you didn't do this, or when you said this. I needed support and I felt abandoned during this, etc. And I looked him in his eyes. And, you know, my voice was trembling a little bit. And I was vulnerable. But he apologized. He did. He apologized, and sincerely, for maybe, I won't say the first time ever, but first time that I felt was like really sincere. He was like, I didn't realize how much that affected you, and I'm trying to do better. So, yeah, it made me a little emotional, because I don't know how long it was that I was waiting on that moment. But not because everything was fixed. It isn't. And trust, I still have cautious guardrails up. But because I saw my growth right there at the table. And the fact that I could sit with somebody who was a huge trigger for me and not only hold my composure, but also facilitate a healing conversation, that's a level up. A year or two ago, that wouldn't have happened. That would have been a shouting match or a cold silence and me shutting the fuck down because I didn't feel heard. Now, I would be lying if I said everything is roses. Whenever it's a relationship like that, I feel like it's a work in progress. And I still process new waves of old emotions that come up, but I'm proud that I can give this an honest try without the baggage dictating my every move. And I just told him the boundaries that I need, and he's been respecting them. And one boundary I said is, I'm open to reconnect, but I will not tolerate any minimizing of the past or any toxic language. And if that happens, I'm gonna kick rocks. I'm gonna get the fucking, you gonna kick rocks. Straight like that. That's a boundary. So setting that boundary was growth for me too. The younger version of me was scared. My inner child was too scared to demand what I needed from him, but now I found my voice, so it was a little bit easier. So yeah, that's my current tea. Your girl is doing the work in real time and applying all of this talk of growth to one of the most personal areas of my life, and it's not easy, y'all. Some days I have to pray hard or vent to my journal to not slip into my old resentments, because there's no growth from that. And I claim this. I know I need to be careful what I say, because words are spells. But I know I'm stubborn, and it's something that I'm working on, and I hold grudges so bad. But every respectful conversation that we have, and every time I respond with love and firmness rather than anger, I feel like those true roots of mine are getting stronger. And look, whether things fully reconcile or not, I know that I showed up as the evolved me in this process, and I can live with that. Sometimes growth isn't about winning or getting the outcome that you want or that you feel that you deserve, but it's about knowing that you conducted yourself in a way that you're proud of no matter what. And I don't have regrets about how I handled this attempt at, reconciliation. That's priceless to me. I'm doing my best. I'm only 25. I'm just a girl. And that's something that I live by. But I don't allow that to be an excuse as to why I can't overcome certain things or do certain things. I'm still trying. But I'm sharing this with y'all because I encourage y'all to do the work. We put into ourselves. I feel like the work that we put in on ourselves will eventually reflect in even the toughest relationships or situations if you keep at it. Because one day you'll find yourself in a moment and realize, wow, the old me probably would have fell apart, would have went into shambles. And here I am holding it together. It might even be something as deep as healing family rifts, or as everyday as not freaking out like when your child draw on the wall or spill something. All growth counts. And even, this is helping me to be a better parent to my son, because I don't want him to dabble in these behaviors because of me. But that's my tea. A bit more vulnerable than usual, but I'm an open book, and if it can help somebody out there, shit, we out here growing, healing generational wounds, breaking cycles. Light work. It's not really that light, Okay, maybe not that light. It's heavy lifting, actually. But we're doing it nonetheless, and I'm proud. But, yeah. Anywho, now we're at one of my favorite segments, Am I Overthinking or What? Where I share a scenario, sometimes from the listeners, sometimes from my own overreactive brain, which I haven't done yet, but there have been some instances that have happened to me to where I want to ask y'all, like, do y'all think I'm overthinking this? Sometimes. But yeah, y'all ask these important questions because, you know, as Black girls, we do overthink and we got to check ourselves. Is it intuition speaking or anxiety on the mic? Is it a real issue or are we doing mental gymnastics for no reason? Either way, we're going to get into it and I'm going to help you. The first question that we have comes from an anonymous mind muse. She says, is it normal to lose sexual interest when your emotional needs aren't being met? The short answer, hell yes. Okay, we are grown now. We are not in high school trying to sneak off to the bathroom stall. If you ain't pouring into me emotionally, then my body is not going to be out here pouring into anything else either. And that's just simple. That's not overthinking. That's alignment. When women start disconnecting emotionally, that libido goes ghost and our minds got to be stimulated, respected, and seen first. We cannot fake desire for someone who makes us feel unseen, unheard, or unloved. So if you're not feeling turned on, check if your heart is turned off. This isn't you being dramatic or doing too much, because some people will gaslight you into, like, you know, feeling like you are doing too much, but you're not overthinking. Your body's telling the truth. Your mouth might be scared to say, so tap into that and just let it be known. Okay, the second question we have. Hey, Yami, I have a question that's been on my mind for some time. Please let me know if I'm overthinking this or not. But a man walked up to me and said I had some pretty teeth, and my homegirl responded with, she got veneers. Was she hating? Yeah. She was. That's absolutely a subtle hater move, and don't let her hit you with that, I was just being honest, or it's not that deep. Baby, it wasn't that deep until you made it that deep. So if somebody's complimenting me and your first instinct is to give a little backhanded, don't gas her too much comment, like she got veneers, then that's weird. That's giving, let me dim her glow a little bit. Like, what was the reason? Why did you feel the need to point that out? We not lying and saying I was born with these, baby. Like, it never gave that. He said they're pretty. He gave me a compliment. He didn't ask for the receipt, so let me live. So no, you're not overthinking that. Your homegirl threw a little shade in the name of transparency, so clock it. She tried it and you denied it. And that's not your friend. You need to cut her off before she tries to do way much more than that. It always starts with little shit like that. She's low-key envious of you. She didn't even want to let you have that. The next question. My boyfriend always turned down sex and it's starting to get to me. It's to the point where his birthday was the other day. I put on the cutest little set for him. And the second I even gave him that look, he wasn't interested. Am I overthinking or what? I feel you. Nothing will humble your sexy energy faster than rejection in the bedroom from somebody you want, especially when it's your man and on his birthday. Girl, you're not overthinking. That shit hurts, period. Now, are these possible explanations? Sure. Stress, hormones, depression, body image, issues. Men go through that stuff too. But, and this is a big but, if it's consistent, unspoken, and leaving you feeling unwanted and something is off, and it needs to be addressed, because over time, sexual rejection without communication can eat away at your confidence. That little cute little set turns into I don't even want to try this anymore, and that's not fair to you. You deserve to feel desired consistently, not just when it's convenient for him. So no, I don't think that you're being dramatic. You're not overthinking it. I think that you're just responding to a real need that needs to be met, and it's not. And how he responds when you bring it up will tell you everything. So let me know how that goes. But I'm going to bring a gratitude moment with you guys. We're going to get some gratitude. We're going to lighten up the mood and open up our hearts with gratitude. I firmly believe that gratitude is one of the best antidotes to anxiety, overthinking, and just all the heavy stuff, even on the worst days. Finding one thing to be thankful for can shift your entire energy. So let's do that together. Okay. In this moment, I want to share a few things that I'm grateful for, and I encourage you to think of a few of your own. And we'll make a little gratitude list, girl to girl. So first, I am grateful for my growth, truly. I'm grateful that I'm not who I was a year ago, or even 6 months ago, or even yesterday. I'm thankful for every hard lesson, every trigger that became a teacher, and every bit of progress, no matter how small, in my journey to become a better woman. I sometimes get caught up in who I want to be and forget to thank God for who I've already become. So I'm pausing to do that now. Thank you, Spirit, for progress. Secondly, I am grateful for the people who support my growth, from my friends who hype me up when I do something mature. They'll be like, yeah, yes, growth. And it makes me laugh. And to my mom, who's been my sounding board, and to y'all's listeners, my listeners, who create a space where I can be honest and human. I'm thankful for my therapist too. Shout out to therapy, okay? And even in a strange way, I'm grateful for the challenging people. Yes, even the people who try to throw shade at me or diminish my light because they unwillingly help me practice being a higher me. Look at God, using even the haters for my elevation. Third, I'm grateful for just the simple joys with all the deep talk today. Let me bring in the basics. I'm grateful for that bomb-ass tea I had earlier this morning, for the sunshine coming through my window, for my son, for the new season of the show that I love. Y'all tune into you. Little things, a good hair day, a hearty laugh at a meme, the way my favorite bonnet hasn't given out on me yet. Sometimes we just overthink and so much, and we just live in our head that we forget to appreciate the small tangible blessings around us. So I'm giving thanks for the simple stuff that made me smile this week. Take a second and think of 3 things that you're grateful for right now. They can be big, like your health, your family, or teeny tiny, like that yummy cupcake you had, or the fact that you finally folded the laundry and you've been procrastinating about it. Say them in your mind or out loud if you can, and feel that warmth of gratitude in your chest. It's kind of hard to overthink and feel grateful at the same time, right? So when gratitude comes in, stress goes out the door, even if it's just for a moment. I'm just feeling all warm and glowy now. So how about you? Gratitude just does that for you. Let's carry the energy forward. I'm going to give you guys an episode affirmation. We're almost at the end. So yeah, y'all know what time it is. This is where we seal all that goodness that we discussed with a positive, powerful statement. And I like to create an affirmation that ties into our theme and that you can carry with you until next time. So feel free to repeat it after me or out loud in your head and just let it sink in. I am evolving each day, and my growth shines through in how I respond to life's challenges. I remain rooted in peace, even when I'm pressed, and I'm proud of how far I've come. I give myself permission to be proud of my progress. I am stronger, wiser, and calmer than I was before, and I handle what used to handle me. I'm growing, and I am grateful. I handle what used to handle me. That line gives me chills, but in a good way, because that's growth in a nutshell. The things that used to have power over us, we now have power over. Amen. Yes, ma'am. Clock it. So write this affirmation down if it resonated with you. Stick it on your mirror, make it your phone wallpaper, or whisper it to yourself during the day. Let it remind you that you're doing the work and it's paying off. But I feel lighter and inspired, and I hope that you do too. Thank you so much for tuning into another episode of the Black Girl Overthinking podcast. And I appreciate every single one of you for listening, for laughing, for giving me that slight side-eye, bombastic side-eye, and just for thinking deeply with me and helping me also to feel like I'm seen and heard. I read all of y'all's messages in the comments, and y'all are my tribe, my mind muses, and I appreciate each and every single one of you. Give this podcast 5 stars, you guys. Throw your girl a rating or a review. Y'all know I'm trying to grow this thing, but I can't do that without y'all's help. It's like, yeah, I do love y'all's DMs and y'all's messages and your comments and the feedback, but like, I need y'all to get more active on the podcast, and it helps folks find our little community. So share this episode with that friend who's on her glow up and who's trying to shift her perspective on things and who's trying to acknowledge the growth even though she can't see it verbatim. Spread the word, you guys. Share the vibes. Don't be stingy with this podcast. I know you love me and I love you too, but other people deserve to hear my viewpoints on these things. And if you really love me and you're truly a supporter of me, then you would help spread that word. But all right, my loves, that's it for this episode. Take care of yourselves this week and protect your peace. Notice your growth and don't let anyone steal your joy, even if they're feeling froggy. You don't have to leave unless you decide it's worth it, because you're in control, boo. As always, stay beautiful, stay brainy, and keep overthinking just a little bit, but with intention. I love y'all, and I'll catch y'all on the next episode. Mwah.